What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised.
Spoilers ahead. Okay, so is Zombies 3 the worst one of the entire franchise? That's what most viewers believe. From an issue with Addison being an alien to the problem with the werewolf, Alpha, and even some characters that practically built the story being overlooked, here is why Zombies 3 doesn't make any sense. We'll start off with the problem with Addison's powers. We are about to discuss the ending of Zombies 3 in order to see why it doesn't make any sense. So get ready to jump into some pretty big spoilers. The last much anticipated installment of the franchise is actually really good, at least according to us. But there are some viewers who thought that since this is the last film, it could have been better in every sense. The film starts off with Addison and Zed preparing for their senior year when they are suddenly comforted by a new group of species who've come from outer space. The aliens, yes. Following that major cliffhanger at the end of Zombies 2, the third film reveals what that meteor meant, and now the humans, zombies, and werewolves are scared for their life because, well, we don't expect them to hug and welcome the aliens all of a sudden. Prior to the arrival of the aliens, the Seabrook residents are preparing for a big football game and for the cheer-off that Addison has organized. The most important thing in Seabrook is peace, obviously, and so the cheer-off will be friendly. But the appearance of the blue-haired aliens whose home planet has been destroyed changes the course of the events. Once the aliens arrive, everyone starts panicking, except Addison. The kind-hearted Addison shows no fear. This doesn't make sense, to be honest, because if any of you sees an alien of some kind, you'd be freaked out, right? I know I would be.
These angry beings may not give us their planet.
Anyway, the aliens assure everyone that they won't hurt them, and they say they've come for the cheer-off. This is when we discover that Addison is actually part of the aliens because her grandmother, Angie, was one of them as well. This doesn't make the female lead of the franchise a full alien, and she's instead half alien, half human. You see, Angie was sent to Earth a long time ago when she fell in love with a person. Since she spent so many years on Earth, her hair turned white, hence Addison's strange white hair. As for Addison's big reveal, we just don't understand why the creators spend an entire film convincing us that she's a werewolf when they had this alien thing in mind. Now, let's talk about her powers. Shortly after the reveal, Addison doesn't get the spark that is the key to her utilizing her powers. At some point, she says, "Smash that like button if you haven't done it already." Meanwhile, the zombies, humans, and werewolves agree to help the aliens in their search for the most precious thing in Seabrook. Addison's grandmother hid the coordinates of their perfect home in the most precious thing in Seabrook. At first, everyone believes that the coordinates are hidden in the Seabrook cup. So Addison is now feeling pressure to win the cup. I don't get this, to be honest. Why not ask for the cup and search for the coordinates and then give it back to the winners? Why does she have to win the competition when she could politely borrow it? In the meantime, Addison is learning how to use her powers, but that's not going really well. Every time she touches Zed, he receives an electric shock, making him zombie out. This also means that they can't hug and even touch each other anymore. A lot of fans had the same question here. How can Addison touch her fellow cheerleaders without giving them an electric shock, but when she touches Zed, he goes through a painful experience? A bit later, the aliens realize that the map isn't in an item at all, but rather is in Addison's DNA, as her grandmother referred to her when she said she hid the coordinates in the most precious thing in Seabrook. Yes, in her DNA. Is this technically possible? Can you hide a map in someone's DNA? Grey's Anatomy's viewers? Anyone? Another thing that doesn't make sense is the fact that the aliens can't leave without Addison because, the map is in her DNA. This means that Addison is now forced to leave Seabrook, her family, her boyfriend, and everything behind so that she can guide the aliens to Utopia. This doesn't make sense, you guys. How can they ask for this? With the help of Addison and Zed as human conduits and the werewolves' moonstones, the aliens recharge their mothership to full power. This event almost killed Zed, by the way. And why was he risking his life? The decision for Addison to leave is pretty heartbreaking as she goes through heartbreaking goodbyes with everyone. Zed offers to go with the aliens, but they explain to him that he won't survive the trip, let alone life in Utopia. But then Addison manages to explain in the group that her grandmother wanted them to live in Seabrook, because Seabrook is now the perfect place to live if you want to live in a non-discriminatory society. The aliens realize that she's right, and they all come back to Seabrook to live in peace and harmony. Addison is reunited with her friends and boyfriend on the day of graduation, and she and Zed prepare for the future together, both being accepted into the same college. As for the rule that doesn't allow monsters to study college, why are they allowed to go to high school and not college? What's that about? Was that even addressed in the franchise? Another question we have in mind is Bucky an alien? The third film decided to add aliens in the expansion of Seabrook, and some fans think that a better choice would have been vampires. We don't know about this, but feel free to share your opinion in the comments. Okay, so if Addison's mother and grandmother are aliens, and Addison is half alien by blood, what is Bucky? While the third film explains a lot about Addison, her origins, and her past, it doesn't explain anything about the identity of her cousin, Bucky. If Addison and Bucky have the same grandmother, doesn't it mean that Bucky might also be half alien? The fact that the final film doesn't address this issue is kind of absurd. Most fans believe that Bucky might as well be an alien, and this might as well be written as a plot hole. The franchise spent so much time convincing everyone that Allison was different. This was first addressed in the first film when she believed she was a zombie. The reason behind her different hair color is revealed in Zombies 3, with nothing, absolutely nothing about her cousin. There's a possibility that he's a cousin from her dad's side, but since that wasn't confirmed either, I guess we'll never know. Another thing that doesn't make any sense in the third installment is Addison's attitude towards her mother. Think about this. You spend your entire life not being sure what you are. You have identity crises, and you suddenly discover that you're an alien when your mom knew about it all this time. In the scene when Addison's mom reveals herself to be half alien, we also find out that her husband had no idea all these years. He had no idea that he's been married to an alien. He took this extremely well, to be honest. If this wasn't a Disney film, Addison would have been angry at her mom for letting her live her life, wondering what is wrong with her, and why is she different than all the other people and monsters in Seabrook. But this is a movie, and the creators thought Addison had no reason to be mad at her mother. The thing that bothered me the most, however, was that some important characters get ignored. We already mentioned what happened with Bucky's identity, and shortly after the premiere of the final film, Trevor Torgman, the actor that plays Bucky, told J14 that if Zombies 4 happens, he would love to see his character grow a little bit, suggesting that there was no character development in the third installment. He said, "You need to smash that subscribe button and notification bell, so you'll never miss any of our videos in the future." But seriously, here's what the actor thinks. I'd hope to see a side of him that isn't all about himself. But with that being said, that's what I think makes him so funny. So you need to keep that with Bucky. See you in the next video.